Shannon Washington at you, redoing a lot of these movie reviews, and because of that, this is gonna be a new one. This is a re-review for the movie no, Jumanji. Sorry for the slip of the tongue. Jumanji was a movie that was really, 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 really bad. Um, Looking at back at it now, The Rock Johnson's not in any good movies. I went through his filmology, and it's kind of depressing. He's a very charismatic guy. He can deliver a good line or two, but he's been in shit. Game Plan, Tooth Fairy, a lot of the Fast and Furious movies. If you like them, sure, but they pretty much mediocre all the way through. Jumanji, Rampage, Skyscraper. Like these are all really bad movies, and I feel maybe I hate that he's being typecast in these roles, but he also accepts them. He's gonna be like, "Hey son, I was in all these movies," and they're like, "Dad, I don't want to watch any of them. Not one. Can we just watch you beat up Stone Cold Steve Austin again?" Like, I don't know. It's really interesting to see how bad the movies he's in. And then the other main actor in this movie is Kevin Hart. Yes, the comedian who's funny during his stand-up, but he's never funny in movies. Let's talk about this for a second, because this is bringing up a bigger conversation about Kevin Hart and his comedic career. Kevin Hart was originally a stand-up comedian. A lot of his jokes center on him being small and being a dweeb and all this other stuff. But it was done very well. It was very effective, and I loved his comedy. The problem with Kevin Hart now is that he spread all his jokes so far out, and he diluted himself as a product. That as a comedian, if you don't know, most comedians write on a daily basis. They work on jokes, they practice, they work on their timing, they actually get in front of people and they say jokes, they try to work on their punchlines, and all that kind of thing. So being a comedian is a very busy lifestyle, even though they might not look like it. They're basically really funny writers. Dave Chappelle writes jokes all the time. I think there's a documentary of Dave Chappelle, and you might spend at least 4 to 5 hours a day just writing jokes and practicing jokes every day. Even on his off days, he just practices. Kevin Hart, like I said, he doesn't do that nearly as much. And because he's doing so many different projects, they require him to do so many jokes. And so he's literally diluting himself as a product. Instead of saying, "Hey, I'm going to have one special in the next 4 months. I'm going to get the best jokes in this 4 months." Kevin Hart's like, "Well, I got 10 movies to do, or 3 movies to do, and 2 specials. And so I got to divide all my good jokes with the mediocre jokes with the bad jokes." And because of that, it leaves him not very funny. A lot of these comedians, they get on they have like a written script, but you are funny supposedly, so you can kind of freelance and say jokes, and the director would traditionally let you continue on. If he thinks it's funny, it's gonna be in the movie. If it's not funny, it's not gonna be in the movie. A lot of times, I think in the last Ghostbusters, there's a lot of improvisation. So they'll kind of film you, and you would just talk about maybe say 4 to 5 hours and just improv stuff, and just let it keep going, and eventually you'll land on something funny, and they keep that in the movie. Kevin Hart's not very great at that. He's completely a writer. He's not an improv comedian, and that's neither not against him as a comedian. It's just that that's not his skill. So in this movie, of course, all his jokes are him being small and being black, but at a certain point, they're not funny anymore, and it becomes very tiresome to even look at on the big screen. And I really am at that point with Kevin Hart, that I really don't like him in movies anymore. Currently at this time, there's a movie called Night School, which I'm probably gonna watch, even though I don't want to watch. He does not look funny. He's the main character. He does not look funny. He was in Ride Along, not that funny. Ride Along 2, not that funny. Center Intelligence, not that funny. Like, he's in all these movies, he's in all these roles over and over again. And I think it's interesting that these Hollywood executives want to put a black guy and make him a funny role, because he is small, he is black, and it's like, okay, he's gonna play well with the crowd, but he's not that funny. Maybe I'm just missing something. I don't know. Let me know in the comment description. Tell me. And then you have Jack Black, who I think was what makes this movie at least tolerable. Jack Black has the ability to play a teenage girl, and it's hilarious to watch this guy. I think Jack Black is in his 50s now. I would love to meet Jack Black. He's in his 50s, but I bet he's his life of the party. So very funny, very he's always able to pull out all those emotions and facial expressions. I mean, he's great at that, and I love Jack Black as an actor. I really do. He might be one of my favorite actors, even though he's not the best actor. But I love him acting. Tropic Thunder, great job. Jack Black, hit out the park. Um, that's enough about the actors. Let's talk about the plot. The basic plot is that these kids are in detention. They're sent to do something, and they find this mysterious game cartridge. They put the game cartridge in, and they come into Jumanji, which is a video game. So the movie plays upon this video game concept, and it's done okay. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just that, like I said, The Rock isn't funny. He's a very bad actor. He's very stiff. You have Kevin Hart, who's not very funny at all. You have Jack Black in the movie, who tried to keep the movie up. And you have the other female, I forget her name. I'm not. I think her role in the movie was that big or exceptional, so I kind of glance over her. And it's not because she's a woman either, not at all. But it's kind of very just video game-ish. They go to one level to another, and they solve these very easy riddles, or they get through something. And Kevin Hart didn't notice. He makes like a little scared noise. They solve it, and the movie just kind of continues from there. Even the climax of the movie was very, 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 very anticlimactic. It might be one of the most anticlimactic boss fights I've ever seen that was supposed to be depicted in the video game. They just put a jewel in something and the game's over. Like, I thought it would have been way cooler if, like, this wouldn't add any type of thought. And they put the jewel in, and then it's like, now you gotta defeat the final boss. And the guy who was like full of snakes, he becomes like this giant worm-like creature. And it's up to Kevin Hart to use his zoologist power or zoologist knowledge to beat him. And they're like, oh wow, you were handy. And like ironically, because he's small, he was the most powerful at the end of the day. Like something like that. Even that would make the movie cheesy, but it would have made the movie better as the ending. Like something like that didn't take much effort. I don't think anyone at the board could I didn't. I'm not making movies. I think anyone could have done that. It would have made the movie a little bit better. But as it is, the movie's just very boring and typical. It's a piece of shit. I really fell asleep during this movie. I was watching. I was like, wow, this is nothing happening at all. They're walking around. They're bickering. They're saying unfunny jokes. They're bickering. They're saying unfunny jokes. Something happens. It's not important. They bicker. Unfunny joke. Bicker. Unfunny joke. Someone dies. Unfunny joke. Unfunny joke. Unfunny joke. They bicker. They beat the game. They become friends. Like that's in the entire movie. The entire movie. And it's just so I don't know why they made this. They were trying to pull on the nostalgia of the Jumanji movie, but at least the original Jumanji movie had some emotional ties. It's about a kid who was lost and how he's trying to overcome certain things because he was lost. It's about the kids trying to grow up and face their fears. It's about love and trying to rekindle that emotion. This is very bad. Even there was a cameo by I think the Jonas brother. I won't say Nick Jonas. I don't know the Jonas brothers, so forgive me. And you already know how I feel about that. I don't think in detail how bad that was, but it was kind of thrown together. You could kind of tell you could tell it was. And then the reunion with Nick Jonas at the end of the movie. This shit. This shit. The Rock needs to stop this shit. So does Kevin Hart. And I salute Jack Black for trying. I salute him for trying. If you want to know about Jack Black, I heard that he's just doing a tour. He stopped making movies and he wants to focus on music. He loves music. He's getting up there in age, and so he just wants to travel and tour. And more power to you. If he comes to my area, I'm gonna go check him out. But that's really all about the movie. Don't watch it. If you watched it, you forgot it. And if you see this, hopefully it doesn't give you PTSD. Shannon, out. Peace.